Hey, it's Squidly. Today I have 4 hacks that are going to make your life on trail and in camp just a little bit better. The first hack for today is going to help you in camp. This isn't going to do anything for you on trail. But camp chairs. I've got the Helinox Zero, and in a recent video by another content creator who I'm not going to name, said that the Helinox Zero was not the best chair because of its tendency to sort of sink in the ground when you sit on it. Now, he's not wrong. In fact, he's 100% right, but there's a hack that you can do to keep that from happening that costs you very little in the way of a weight penalty. What I used on the legs, on the feet, are practice golf balls. Now, for 4 of them, because I just weighed them, that is 0.6 of an ounce, or about, 16 grams. So it's just a little bit of nothing. The penalty is almost non-existent unless you're a real gram weenie, but if that's the case, you're probably not carrying a chair anyway, so why am I even talking about that? Anyway, the point is that if you cut these open, you can see that you can cut these open and slide them onto the feet, and they pretty well stay. You can see I'm sort of struggling to get them on and off. They will keep the feet from sinking down into the ground. Really good stuff if you want to be able to sit in your chair and not sink in and fall over, break legs, and all that. Also, I've been doing this one for a couple of years now, and I have to say that it's been almost foolproof. If it's Squidly proof, it's foolproof. The second one is really for tent campers only. I guess maybe hammock campers could make use of this, but this is also in camp and a little bit on trail. More on that in just a second. But what I use is a piece of closed cell foam, and I cut off a piece that's about the length of this way, about the length of my chair packed up. And what I do is I use this in camp as kind of a doormat in front of my tent. This makes it so that getting in and out of the tent, especially when it's wet outside, is easier without getting wet and dragging in all the stuff that comes with it into the tent. The other advantage of it is even when it's not wet, you're constantly, putting your knee on the ground and then carrying that in with you. By doing this, you can put this in front of your door, and the knee goes on the doormat on this piece of closed cell foam, so that you're not dragging that in the tent with you. Now, what does this have to do with the chair? Well, the stuff sack for the chair is not waterproof. And so if it's raining, your chair is going to get wet through the day unless you've got it covered up with something. Now, I know that you have Dyneema stuff sacks for them and all that, but what I do is I use this closed cell foam, put the chair in it, and roll it up, and the chair is inside and more or less protected. Not perfectly, but enough that so that when I get to camp, if it's not raining, I can sit in the chair and not be sitting on something wet. Hack number 3 involves the Sawyer bags, which are notorious for being difficult to fill and just kind of a pain. In fact, there was a time when I got rid of these bags and I had one of those C-Knock bags, and I really loved that bag. The problem is I gave it to my son and I haven't seen it since. So now what do I do? Well, I'm using the Sawyer bags, but filling it in this tiny little hole is a real pain, especially when the water's not moving. But even if the water is moving, it's still really slow to fill. And so what I do is I have half of a cheap plastic water bottle and cut it in half, and I use that as a scoop, and it makes filling this up really convenient, really fast, no complaints there at all. In fact, if it's just a pool of water that's not moving, this is better even than the C-Knock bag. Those first 3 hacks I've been using for years. This is something that's not really new to me. This next one is something that is brand new as far as me doing it. I had an old pair, I guess I still have an old pair of Frog Togs, and It's the old style. It's not the newer, really much lighter and more packable style of Frog Togs. But the problem is, especially the bottoms, they are so long, they are so baggy, they're just way beyond too big, and frankly, I just never used them. And if the bottom half of my body was going to get wet, it was just going to have to get wet because I was not wearing these pants. It was just too inconvenient. They just didn't work for me. So I took an old pair, not this pair obviously, and I put them on and measured about where I wanted them to be, and I cut them. And so now I have a pair of togs that hit me just at the knee. They are absolutely perfect. Right now I'm playing for you, either over here or over here, some B-roll of me actually using these. Not only did they keep me dry and they were much more comfortable, even though the bottom half of my legs below the knee were exposed and getting at least a little bit wet. I had these in an all-day rain and liked having them the whole time. They were perfect. And so cutting these off at the knee proved to be just right. Your feet are going to get wet anyway, so there's no point in trying to prevent your shoes and socks from getting wet. So really, what are you protecting? Well, just the distance on your legs between your knees and your ankles. Because they are now rain shorts, it also makes it possible when you come to stream crossings that you can just cross without dragging your rain gear through the water. And so for me, they were just right. In fact, I've decided to change the name. They are no longer Frog Togs. These shorts are now Squid Togs. That was 4 hacks for making your time on trail and in camp a little bit more convenient. Do me a favor, in the comments, tell me what you think, or tell me maybe a better way that I'm not seeing. And on the way out, don't forget to hit like and subscribe.